Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of our nutritional series. If you can remember back, episode 1 was all about how our body uses food, aka fuel, and we broke that down into structure and energy. Next topic that typically comes up after that is, how much should I be eating? And that's a really good question. So that's what we're going to be tackling today. We're going to just start with some really basic knowledge that we think is really important to cover, and that is, how many calories are in protein, carbs, and fats? So for protein, there's 4 calories per gram. Carbs are 4 calories per gram. And fat is 9 calories per gram, okay? So that's just something to keep in mind as we go through our examples, okay? Now, over here I have listed for men and women, we have our first number here, 12 and 10, and that's to lose weight. So simply with that, you're going to take your body weight, multiply it by that number in order to lose weight. That gives you a pretty good starting point of total calories. And then we have our maintenance, if you want to maintain where you're at, or if you want to gain some weight, gain some muscle, we have our numbers there. So for men, that's 12 calories to lose weight. 14 to maintain, and 16 if you want to gain weight. And then for women, we just knock those calories down just a little bit. 10 to lose weight, 12 to maintain, and 14 to gain, okay? Now, one thing that we're going to keep constant is our protein throughout this entire process, okay? So we always want to keep our protein at 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, if you guys remember back to our last video, we outlined how our body uses protein in a lot of different ways that go beyond muscle. Just as a quick reminder, those are things like regrowing our hair, our skin, our organs need them, our brain, all the way down to our DNA. So it's highly important. Some other reasons why we want to do this is that when we eat protein, it burns up to 2.5 times more calories than carbohydrates and fat. And we also know that they're the most satisfying macronutrient. So when you eat meals that are pretty high in protein, you tend to get full faster and you get full longer, which just makes it easier to stay within your calorie range. So it just makes it seem like you're not dieting and having a hard time sticking to the plan. So that's why we really want to focus on that high amount of protein. And again, we tend to shoot for 1 gram per pound of body weight. There is a range, but we just tend to find shooting in the middle of that range is where we want to be. For all you visual people, I have an example written out here just to try to help outline this a little better for you. And I'm just going to use myself as an example. I'm 210 pounds, and I'm just going to utilize our maintenance calories of 14. So just multiplying 14 by 210, that gives me my total calories. That's a great starting point. So for me, that's 2,940 calories. And like we talked about before, we want to keep that protein constant. So my protein levels are going to be at 210 grams, which comes out to be 840 calories. From there, an easy way to figure out how many carbs and fats is just to split them down the middle. So for me, that comes out to be about 1050 calories for carbs, 1050 calories for fat. And now again, grams are going to look a little different because if you remember up here, our multiplier is a little different. 4 calories per gram of carbohydrates, 9 calories per gram for fats. So my carbs are at 262.5 and then 116.5 grams of fat. But again, my total calories are equal. Now that, like I said, that's a good starting point. And if you remember back to our first video in terms of our energy source, that's where our carbs and fats come into play. Now you just want to make sure that we adjust those based upon activity levels and also sustainability. Some people do really well high fat, some people do really well high carb. A lot of people do well with a mixed blend of both. So you just got to figure out what allows you to stay consistent and allow you to maintain this lifestyle going forward for the rest of your life. It's not something that you want to be starting and stopping, okay? And if you need to learn or have some questions on how to adjust those, you can always ask any one of us. We're happy to help with those. But again, a great starting point is just to split your leftover calories between your carbs and your fats. Now, I understand that this can be a lot to go through. So on next week's episode, we're going to learn how to count our calories without having to measure our food. Because to figure out how many grams and how many calories you're getting in, you would have to weigh and measure your food. Some people are very analytical. They really like to do that. Other people They're more visual based. So we're going to show you a way how to count your calories without actually measuring your food. So we look forward to showing you guys that episode then. And if you have any comments or questions, don't be afraid to ask. Thanks, guys.